Welcome, Arapahoe Philharmonic fans. I'm Devin Patrick Hughes, back with another edition of MusicConnects. Tonight, we are very excited and honored to welcome our principal clarinetist, Jason Olney, with us to present a marvelous program. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, thank you so much. I am so excited to share this with everybody. It's great music, and I hope you guys all enjoy it.
We've done a dress rehearsal, and now we're ready to go. And you have a program lined up. You're going to play 4 pieces straight in a row. We've got some Stravinsky, some J.S. Bach, and some Béla Kováks, who is a Hungarian clarinetist born in 1937. He ended up, maybe let's start from the back and work our way forwards. He was a fantastic clarinetist, played in the Hungarian State Opera Orchestras, taught at the Music Academy at Linz, played in the Budapest Philharmonic Orchestra, and then, of course, taught at the Franz Liszt Academy in Budapest. So he came up with all these homages to famous composers like Bach, De Falla. He's got a bunch of other ones. You're going to play the Bach and the De Falla. And he did it with, to expose his students to these styles, but also just to provide some really interesting clarinet etude study music for his students. Can you talk about, was there a dearth of solo clarinet music? Obviously, you've got the Stravinsky and you've converted the Bach, but can you maybe just give us a rundown of the history of solo clarinet music?
Well, I won't give you a full rundown for now, but you can tune in for my lecture series afterwards. But the Kováks is also amazing because he knows what clarinetists really need to be working on and the things that can help them sort of achieve the goals they're looking for. And usually the goals are play in this style convincingly, or play in that style convincingly, maybe be able to go back and forth. So Kováks essentially took some of the most important composers and developed entire etudes for clarinetists to study in order to really understand how those composers wrote for all sorts of instruments, but really understand their style more than anything. And it's kind of a special thing to have because while I am playing a version of the Bach cello suites, they're clearly not written for clarinet. Bach didn't write for clarinet. So it's kind of amazing to have somebody who is so intimately, not only intimately knows how to play the clarinet, but also knows how to teach the clarinet, what students might need to know. But they sort of take the essence of Bach and funnel it into a piece that we can work on. They were originally intended as like just practice study pieces, but a lot of people have performed them on the stage. They're just really wonderful little encapsulations of like an entire style, like Brahms, but for clarinet, unaccompanied. There isn't a ton of unaccompanied clarinet music. You can find some in various periods, but definitely nothing Baroque, unless we're playing somebody else's instrument. But we also don't have any like solo pieces by one of the homages is Kodai, a la Dances of Galanta, which is an incredible clarinet piece. We practiced
which we just played a little less than a year ago.
And I definitely noodled through the Kováks. It was really, really hard, but it's just a great way to like really dig into a style, and they're really rewarding pieces to learn and play as well. So.
And so when you're talking about the conversion of other composers and other pieces of music for the clarinet, this is something we've done a little bit already on this MusicConnect series with Nicholas May performing the Bach Partita in D minor. An actual cellist, Ethan Blake, to kick off our series, played the second cello suite. The cool thing about these cello suites, they were written around 1720 or so, after Bach was essentially kicked out of the city by his current employer. Bach was jailed for a month for not telling his employer that he was leaving. Quite stringent rules back then. And so Bach got to this much better situation at Curtin with Prince Leopold, who was actually an amateur musician, played a lot of different instruments, did some composition, and was really intrigued by Bach's ability to compose for just about any instrument. For these cello suites, they were essentially lost for a couple hundred years. We know they were unearthed by Pablo Casals as a 13-year-old, and Pablo would make them famous again. But can you talk about your approach to music, number one, that is not written for the clarinet, but also in this time, a lot of the music was just had a treble clef or a bass clef, and any instrumentalist could play it. So could you talk about maybe your relationship with the music of Bach?
Oh, absolutely. I've always been really drawn to Bach. It is music that was written so long ago, but still has incredible emotional punch, and has is just like really intricately and kind of perfectly crafted. If you look at a compositional from a compositional view, but it's always been really beautiful music that I've always been touched by. But I don't have a lot of opportunities to play music in the Bach music for the clarinet, because there's just none. So I feel really lucky to have a set of arrangements of some of the cello suites that my clarinet mentor from CU Boulder, Dan Silver, passed on to me when I finished up my master's degree. And it kind of has an interesting story. His mentor, Robert Marcellus, passed that same set on to him when he was in a part of his career where he wasn't entirely sure what his next steps were. In sort of like a holding period, he could pour his energy into this piece. And I feel like I'm kind of using the collection in the same way.
It's like the musical Holy Grail.
Yes, yeah. Or I have my music, and it is a descendant, and it's gone from hand to hand down to.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's really well arranged for clarinet, these versions. They're very, very similar to the original, except the key is slightly different. So it's a little bit more friendly for the clarinet, but more so we have a low end to our range. If we play in the original key, we don't always get to play some of the more important low notes.
Wouldn't you need a bass clarinet for that?
I have one right over there, and I definitely something I've practiced and studied, and a lot of people do play it on bass. It's really beautiful.
Wow.
But yeah, there are some things that I just can't do that a cello can do. They can play two strings at once. I have no strings at all. So what I often do is I just smear from one note to the next, not smear. That's for other pieces and more modern pieces. But I sort of kind of move quickly through them all, so you get a sense of all of the notes sort of happening at once, at least after they leave the clarinet. So in a lot of ways, I'm really trying to kind of cosplay as a cellist. I listen to cellists play this. I listen to clarinetists play it as well. But I feel like the cellists, because the instrument has just so many really special qualities, can really capture the music in a really special way. So I just try to sound cello-y as a clarinetist, I guess.
So if Bach was the king of counterpoint, the first piece that you're playing, Stravinsky, the three pieces for clarinet, is most certainly the king of rhythm. And we both have spoken before about one of our favorite pieces, the L'Histoire du Soldat, the Soldier's Tale, which was written in the 1910s around World War I, when kind of all the instrumentalists were unavailable because they were fighting in the war. So Stravinsky and many other composers, dubbed neoclassicists, ended up writing music for very small ensembles. So this is the three pieces for clarinet. Was actually written in tribute to this amateur clarinetist named Werner Reinhardt. And it's my understanding that Mr. Reinhardt was instrumental in the production of Stravinsky's L'Histoire du Soldat. We also performed the Copland clarinet concerto, and in many ways, I feel Copland has a strong affinity to Stravinsky and the rhythmic feeling and how they write the rhythms. Can you talk about just the challenges for not just this piece, but maybe any other Stravinsky as well?
I love that you bring in Copland, because at first blush they feel like such dramatically different composers, but a lot of what composers are trying to do is, how can you create something novel and beautiful and interesting, but in a different way? And Stravinsky was always doing that, and he really, really loved to use rhythm to highlight different parts of his music. And obviously Copland is an incredibly rhythmically driven composer. Stravinsky is a tricky composer, because he has like really mature compositions in like multiple very different periods of his compositional career. His early stuff is very different than like what happens just very soon after. The L'Histoire, you mentioned it was in the 1910s. It was actually, I think, finished in 1918, and the three pieces was finished in 1919. So not only are they very closely related in time and also some of the same characters, but we have a pretty good idea that Stravinsky was borrowing certain elements from L'Histoire. And I believe he even mentioned that the last piece of the three pieces is sort of a kind of a remix of the tango from L'Histoire, that the devil is forced to dance.
From the three dances, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And the clarinet has a doom ba doom ba doom ba doo da dee da dee. That's it for any of you who don't know it. If you love the Stravinsky, check out the L'Histoire du Soldat, the Soldier's Tale. It's for violin, bass, clarinet, bassoon, trombone, trumpet, and percussion. So it's really this eclectic combination that at times in a performance can sound almost like a full orchestra.
Yeah, and you can also find versions with the narrator as well. There's sort of like a simple story that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Stravinsky didn't write the story, so I am a little less
excited
by it. Yeah.
Charles Ferdinand Rameau's, and there's a couple other versions of it. One by Kurt Vonnegut, which is not a family show, I should probably say.
Oh, well, I think I have some homework to do.
Yeah, a lot of profanities being thrown around in that Vonnegut one, but it's an effective showpiece, most certainly. Jason, we're looking forward to your entire performance, and for those of you who are listening, have joined us by Facebook Live or YouTube Live, Jason will be around if you have any questions about the music or about his performance or about if he's playing on an A or B flat clarinet or anything you wanted to know about Jason's musical life or clarinet playing. Feel free to share with us in the chat. And also, if you're joining us, we can't do this without your support. We can't put on these programs without your support. Not only these, but some of our upcoming live concerts that we're going to be rolling out here pretty quickly, with concerts in the parking lot that are drive up, and even some live in-person concerts that we're looking forward to putting on pretty soon. So please make a donation if you are able. All of it goes to support all the amazing artistic and education programming that we do as the Arapahoe Philharmonic. So without further ado, Jason's going to play straight through the four pieces by Stravinsky, Bach, and Mr. Kováks. So Jason, take it away.
Thank you so much.